They laughed before she ever spoke. It started as low snickers echoing off the cold metal lockers, then grew louder, unchecked, careless, cruel. Boots thudded against the concrete floor, towels snapped, and someone muttered, "Wrong room," followed by laughter sharp enough to cut. She stood there anyway, duffel bag at her feet, spine straight, eyes forward. She had learned long ago that laughter was easier to endure than doubt. And she had endured both for years. The locker room had always been a place of noise and bravado, a space where rank was left at the door and toughness was measured in scars and stories. That morning, it felt like a gauntlet. She could feel the weight of their eyes on her back, hear the whispered bets about how long she'd last. Someone joked about paperwork. Someone else said command was a man's job. She said nothing. Silence, she knew, could be armor. Her name was Captain Elena Ward, at least, that was what the roster still said. She had worn the same fatigues as everyone else, trained harder than most, and learned to swallow every slight because the mission always came first. She had led patrols through dust storms and darkness, had pulled wounded soldiers into cover with hands slick with blood, had made decisions that haunted her dreams and saved lives at the same time. None of that mattered in the locker room. Not yet. The laughter followed her out into the corridor, clinging like a bad smell. She walked past it, boots steady, breath even. Today was different, she told herself. Today, she wouldn't need to explain anything. The base was waking up around her. Engines coughed to life, radios crackled, and the flag snapped sharply in the morning wind. The desert sky was pale, almost gentle, belying the violence it had witnessed. Elena crossed the parade ground toward headquarters, each step measured. She remembered the day she'd first arrived, young, determined, terrified of failing in ways she didn't yet understand. Back then, she had believed that excellence alone would be enough. Time had taught her otherwise. Inside headquarters, the air was cool and quiet. Colonel Hayes was waiting, his face lined by years of command and choices that never came easy. He didn't smile when she entered. He didn't need to. "It's official," he said, sliding a folder across the desk. "Effective immediately." She nodded. No celebration, no speech, just a fact, heavy with responsibility. "Some of them won't take it well," he added, not unkindly. "They don't have to," she replied. "They just have to do their jobs." Hayes studied her for a long moment, then inclined his head. "Good luck, Commander." The word settled into her bones. Commander. She had carried it silently for years, waiting for the moment it would be spoken aloud. When she stepped back outside, the base had fully come alive. Soldiers gathered in loose groups, conversations pausing as she passed. Word traveled fast in places like this. Eyes followed her, not curious now, but wary. She felt it shift, the atmosphere tightening like a drawn bow. The briefing hall filled quickly. Rows of chairs scraped as soldiers took their seats, the hum of voices rising and falling. At the front of the room, the podium waited beneath the unit's insignia. Elena stood off to the side, hands clasped behind her back, listening as Colonel Hayes called the room to order. "Effective today," he announced, "Captain Elena Ward assumes command of this unit." A ripple went through the hall, surprise, disbelief, a few open scowls. Elena stepped forward then, into the light. She was no longer wearing fatigues. The commander's uniform fit her perfectly, pressed sharp, insignia catching the light. The room fell silent, not the awkward silence of politeness, but the heavy kind, the kind that forces people to confront what they thought they knew. She met their eyes one by one. Men she'd trained beside, men who had laughed in the locker room that morning, men who had trusted her with their lives without ever imagining she might lead them. "I know some of you have questions," she said, her voice steady, carrying to the back of the room. "Some of you have doubts. That's fair. Command isn't about comfort, it's about trust, and trust is earned." She paused, letting the words settle. "I won't ask you to follow me because of this uniform," she continued. "I'll ask you to follow me because I've walked the same ground you have. I've made the same hard calls. And I will never ask you to do something I wouldn't do myself." Silence held, then a single nod from the front row. Another from the back. Not everyone, not yet, but enough. The first test came sooner than anyone expected. 2 days later, a convoy was hit outside the wire. An IED tore through the lead vehicle, leaving chaos and smoke in its wake. Reports were confused, radio signals patchy. Lives hung in the balance, measured in minutes. Elena took command without hesitation. She listened, asked the right questions, and made decisions fast. She sent reinforcements along a safer route, coordinated air support, and personally led the recovery team into the danger zone. Under fire, she moved with calm precision, her voice steady over the radio even as rounds cracked overhead. When they brought everyone home, wounded but alive, the relief was palpable. In the aftermath, as medics worked and engineers secured the area, soldiers glanced at Elena with something new in their eyes. Respect, hard-earned and undeniable. Not everyone changed overnight. There were challenges, quiet resistance, second-guessing, moments when she felt the old doubts creep back in. But she met each one head-on. She listened when listening mattered. She stood firm when it didn't. Slowly, the unit began to move as one. Weeks passed, missions succeeded, trust grew, the locker room laughter faded into memory, replaced by something stronger. One evening, after a long day, Elena returned to that same locker room. The noise was still there, jokes, stories, the familiar chaos of soldiers unwinding. But when she entered, the laughter shifted. Not mocking now, just surprised. Someone straightened. Someone offered a respectful nod. "Evening, Commander," a voice said. She nodded back, a small smile touching her lips. Not triumph, not vindication, just quiet satisfaction. Later, alone in her quarters, Elena sat at the edge of her bunk, boots off, uniform neatly hung. The weight of command pressed down on her, as it always did. But beneath it was something steadier, a sense of purpose she had fought hard to claim. She thought of every laugh she'd endured, every doubt she'd carried. None of it had broken her. All of it had shaped her. Leadership, she knew now, wasn't about proving others wrong. It was about proving, to yourself, that you belonged, even when the world tried to tell you otherwise. And tomorrow, she would put the uniform back on, step into the day, and lead. Not because they laughed, but because she never stopped walking forward.